The twin moons of Cartes 7 hung low in the violet sky, casting eerie shadows across the desert battlefield. Razor-sharp winds carried the scent of scorched metal and alien blood. On this desolate world, legends were forged, and tonight, one legend was about to be written. Commander Orin Valek of the Human Confederation had faced countless battles, but none like this. Reports had come in of an overwhelming force of Zevrak's warriors, over 100, elite soldiers of the desert clans surging toward their forward outpost. Communications were cut. Reinforcements were days away. Everyone expected defeat. Except Orin. He stood alone on the ridge overlooking the valley where the Zevraks were gathering. His armor, battle-scarred and flickering with energy shields, reflected the pale moonlight. His pulse was steady, mind clear, every muscle coiled for action. Behind him, Captain Soraya Ven, the strategist assigned to the outpost, watched from a nearby cliff. Soraya was one of the most brilliant minds in the Confederation, and she had spent countless hours planning every defense possible, but even she had never anticipated a stand like this. "Orin," she murmured, voice trembling despite her trained composure. "You can't hold them alone." Orin turned slightly, a faint smirk on his face. "I don't have to hold them all. I just have to survive long enough to make them regret underestimating a human." Soraya's heart skipped. There was bravery in his words, yes, but also recklessness. She had watched him train, seen him execute maneuvers others thought impossible. But 100 Zevraks. Even the strongest warriors would fall. And yet, there was no fear in Orin's eyes, only determination. The first wave of Zevraks charged. Orin leapt from the ridge, landing in the valley with a controlled roll, drawing twin energy blades from his belt. The Zevraks came at him like a tidal wave, screaming battle cries in a guttural language. One after another, they attacked, only to be met by Orin's calculated strikes. His blades danced, weaving a lethal pattern that left scorched marks in the sand, bodies flung aside, armor shattered, limbs severed. From her vantage point, Soraya couldn't look away. Each swing, each calculated step, was poetry in motion. He moved like a storm, untouchable, unstoppable, but the numbers were overwhelming. She saw the exhaustion creeping in, the way his muscles tensed with each strike, the fine trickle of blood along his temple. His human, she thought. Not enhanced, not immortal, human. And his doing the impossible. Hours passed, or perhaps minutes. Time lost meaning as Orin fought alone, a singular force against 100 warriors. Zevraks after Zevraks fell, their ranks thinning, but new waves came relentlessly. The sand was littered with bodies, smoke and dust mingling with the scent of ozone and blood. Soraya's mind screamed at him to retreat, to fall back and preserve his life. But Orin never wavered. Then, he faltered. A massive Zevraks captain, towering and armored in obsidian plating, landed a blow to his side. Orin stumbled, energy shields flickering under the assault. He fell to one knee, struggling to rise as more warriors surrounded him. For the first time, Soraya saw doubt flash across his face, not fear, but the realization that he could be overwhelmed. Without hesitation, she activated her personal thrusters and launched herself down to the battlefield. Orin's eyes met hers, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. She didn't hesitate. Using a combination of precision strikes, energy grenades, and calculated maneuvers, she broke the encirclement, giving him the opening to regain his footing. Together, they fought side by side. Orin's blades cut with lethal precision, while Soraya's weapons and agility allowed them to coordinate attacks, her presence amplifying his effectiveness. Yet, even with her help, the numbers were staggering. Hours blurred into a brutal dance of survival. Orin's strength seemed to draw from some well beyond mere human endurance. He anticipated attacks, read enemy movements before they occurred, and struck with a precision that defied logic. Soraya watched, captivated. She had trained soldiers, commanded units, and seen warriors who were faster, stronger, and smarter, but she had never seen someone fight with such sheer determination. And then, in a moment that would forever be etched into her memory, Orin took a final stand. Surrounded by 10 remaining Zevrax warriors, his blades glowing with energy, he pushed back with such force, such ferocity, that even the alien soldiers faltered. One by one, they fell, until the battlefield was silent except for the hum of his energy blades and the wind sweeping across the valley. Soraya ran to him, heart pounding, as he collapsed to his knees, exhausted but alive. He looked at her, sweat and blood streaked across his face, eyes bright with life and intensity. You did it," she whispered, voice shaking. Orin smirked weakly. "I told you, humans survive. And sometimes, we make legends out of ourselves." After the battle, Soraya couldn't keep her feelings hidden. She had watched him risk everything, fight against impossible odds, and survive. She had witnessed the human spirit, raw and unyielding, embodied in one man. That night, as they walked back to the outpost, she reached for his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. "Orin." He stopped, turning to her, still catching his breath. "You don't have to say it," he said softly. "No," she insisted, eyes locked on his. "I do. I saw you. I saw you fight 100 enemies alone. And I can't. I won't let anyone else touch you. Not now, not ever." Orin's eyes widened slightly, then softened. He pulled her close, their foreheads touching. "You'd think a little human affection would be the least of my worries after today," he joked, but his tone held warmth. "I don't care about today," she replied firmly. "I care about you. Every day. After watching what you've done, after seeing the strength, courage, and heart, you belong to me. Only me." In the weeks that followed, Orin and Soraya trained together, rebuilt the outpost, and prepared for inevitable retaliation from other Zevrax forces. Orin's story spread quickly among the ranks, turning him into a living legend. Tales of his battle against 100 warriors became a rallying cry, a symbol of human resilience and unbreakable will. But to Soraya, it wasn't just legend. It was the man she loved. The man she had watched rise above impossible odds, the man she now vowed to protect with her life. Every glance, every touch, every shared strategy reinforced the bond forged in fire and blood. And Orin, for his part, understood that true strength wasn't just in combat, it was in trust, loyalty, and the rare gift of being understood and cherished by someone who had witnessed his most vulnerable moments and still chose him. Months later, when the Confederation sent reinforcements and the Zevrax threat had diminished, Orin and Soraya stood on the ridge overlooking the valley where he had faced 100 enemies alone. The wind carried the scent of scorched sand and victory, the moons reflecting off his armor. "You know," Soraya said, leaning against his shoulder, "watching you today, I realized something." "Yeah," he replied, arms wrapped around her, still weary from the endless battles. "That no one else could ever survive what I've seen you endure. And no one else should get the chance to try," she said, her voice quiet but firm. Orin chuckled softly, resting his forehead against hers. "I think I could get used to that," he said. And so, amidst the twin moons of Kati 7, the legend of Orin Valek, the human who faced 100 enemies alone, became intertwined with a story of love, devotion, and unbreakable bonds. Soraya's vow was clear, and Orin, the man who had fought impossible odds, finally understood that some victories weren't just on the battlefield, they were in the heart, where trust, love, and loyalty reigned supreme. The galaxy would remember his courage, the outpost would remember his legend, and Soraya would remember one undeniable truth: she would never let anyone else touch the man who had survived the impossible, because he belonged only to her.